Picture yourself standing in the eye of a hurricane, completely calm, while chaos swirls around you. This isn't fantasy, it's the power of a disciplined mind, and it's exactly what the ancient Stoics discovered over 2,000 years ago. In a world where we're constantly bombarded by external pressures, unexpected challenges, and emotional turbulence, the ability to maintain inner peace has become more valuable than gold. The Stoic philosophers understood something profound. While we cannot control the storms of life, we can master our responses to them. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who ruled Rome at its peak, wrote in his personal journal that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. These weren't just pretty words from a privileged ruler, they were battle-tested principles forged in the crucible of governing an empire while facing plagues, wars, and personal tragedies. What makes Stoicism so powerful is its practical approach to mental mastery. Unlike philosophical theories that remain trapped in ivory towers, Stoic principles translate directly into daily life. They offer a systematic way to transform your relationship with adversity, emotions, and uncertainty. The ancient Stoics weren't cold, emotionless robots, as many people imagine. They were fully engaged with life, but they understood the crucial difference between what we can control and what we cannot. The foundation of Stoic mental mastery begins with perception. Our experience of reality isn't determined by events themselves, but by how we interpret and respond to those events. When Marcus Aurelius faced the devastating Antonine Plague that killed millions of his subjects, he could have despaired. Instead, he chose to see it as an opportunity to practice leadership, compassion, and duty. This wasn't denial or toxic positivity, it was a deliberate choice to focus his mental energy where it could make a difference. This power of perception extends to every aspect of our lives. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you can choose to see it as a personal affront that ruins your morning, or as a minor inconvenience that says nothing about your worth as a person. When you receive criticism at work, you can interpret it as an attack on your competence or as valuable feedback that helps you improve. The external event remains the same, but your internal experience transforms completely based on your chosen interpretation. Rationality serves as the compass that guides this process of perception. The Stoics believe that reason is what separates humans from other animals, and they saw it as our most powerful tool for navigating life's complexities. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or becoming robotic. Instead, it means using reason to understand and manage our emotional responses. When you feel angry, reason helps you examine whether that anger serves a constructive purpose. When you feel anxious about the future, reason reminds you that worry about things beyond your control is wasted energy. The practice of rationality involves regularly examining our thoughts and beliefs. Many of our automatic reactions are based on assumptions we've never questioned. The person who seems rude might be dealing with a personal crisis. The setback that feels catastrophic might open doors to unexpected opportunities. By approaching situations with curiosity rather than immediate judgment, we create space for more thoughtful and effective responses. Central to Stoic philosophy is the dichotomy of control, the clear distinction between what we can and cannot influence. This isn't about passive acceptance of whatever happens to us. Rather, it's about directing our energy toward areas where we can actually make a difference. You cannot control whether you get stuck in traffic, but you can control how you use that time. You cannot control whether others appreciate your work, but you can control the quality and integrity of your efforts. You cannot control whether you face illness or loss, but you can control how you respond to these challenges. This focus on our sphere of influence prevents the waste of mental energy that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead of exhausting ourselves fighting against external circumstances, we invest that energy in developing our character, improving our skills, and strengthening our relationships. The result is a more effective and fulfilling life, built on the solid foundation of what we can actually influence. Understanding control also transforms how we relate to challenges and obstacles. Marcus Aurelius taught that the impediment to action advances Action what stands in the way becomes the way. This radical reframing sees difficulties not as barriers to our goals, but as the very means through which we achieve them. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to practice patience, creativity, problem solving, or resilience. The setback that initially seems devastating might force us to develop skills we never knew we needed, or lead us toward paths we never would have discovered otherwise. This perspective requires a fundamental shift in how we define success and failure. Instead of measuring ourselves solely by external outcomes, we evaluate our responses to whatever life presents. Did we maintain our integrity under pressure? Did we treat others with kindness despite our own difficulties? Did we persist in the face of setbacks? These questions focus on what remains within our control regardless of external circumstances. The Stoic approach to emotions is particularly misunderstood in popular culture. Stoics don't suppress or deny their feelings. Instead, they develop emotional intelligence, the ability to experience emotions fully while maintaining the capacity for rational thought and action. This emotional agility allows them to feel anger without being consumed by it, to experience sadness without losing hope, and to enjoy success without becoming arrogant. Developing this emotional agility requires practice in observing our emotions without being overwhelmed by them. When we feel a strong emotional response, we can pause to examine it. What triggered this feeling? What is it telling us about our values or needs? How can we honor the emotion while still responding wisely to the situation? This process of emotional labeling and examination prevents us from being hijacked by our feelings while still allowing us to benefit from the information they provide. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process. By staying present in the moment, we avoid getting caught up in anxieties about the future or regrets about the past. The present moment is where our power actually exists. It's the only place where we can take action or make choices. When we anchor ourselves in the here and now, we can respond to situations with clarity rather than reacting from a place of emotional overwhelm or mental distraction. The practice of self-reflection is another cornerstone of Stoic mental discipline. Marcus Aurelius kept a personal journal where he examined his thoughts, actions, and motivations. This wasn't narcissistic self-obsession, but a systematic practice of self-improvement. By regularly examining our inner lives, we can identify patterns that serve us well and those that hold us back. We can celebrate progress while honestly acknowledging areas that need work. This self-examination extends to our values and priorities. Many people live according to values they've never consciously chosen, expectations inherited from family, society, or peer groups. The Stoics encourage us to deliberately choose our principles based on reason and wisdom. What kind of person do we want to be? What legacy do we want to leave? How do we want to treat others and ourselves? These fundamental questions guide our decisions and help us maintain consistency between our beliefs and actions. Stoic detachment is perhaps the most misunderstood concept in the philosophy. True Stoic detachment isn't indifference or emotional numbness. Instead, it's the ability to maintain perspective and emotional equilibrium regardless of external circumstances. We can care deeply about our work while remaining detached from whether others recognize our efforts. We can love our family members while accepting that we cannot control their choices or protect them from all suffering. This detachment prevents us from being thrown off balance by the inevitable ups and downs of life. When we're too attached to specific outcomes, we become emotional hostages to circumstances beyond our control. Detachment frees us to engage fully with life while maintaining the inner stability that allows for wise decision-making and consistent action. The concept of amor fati, loving one's fate, represents the highest level of Stoic acceptance. This isn't passive resignation, but an active embrace of everything life brings our way. It's the recognition that our challenges and difficulties are not obstacles to a good life, but essential components of it. Without struggle, we cannot develop strength. Without setbacks, we cannot learn resilience. Without loss, we cannot appreciate what we have. Practicing amor fati means finding something to appreciate in every experience, even the difficult ones. The job loss that initially seems devastating might lead to a career change that brings greater fulfillment. The relationship that ends painfully might teach us valuable lessons about love and compatibility. The illness that frightens us might help us clarify our priorities and deepen our relationships with others. Stoic indifference complements amor fati by helping us maintain emotional equilibrium in the face of external events. This doesn't mean we don't care about anything, but rather that we don't allow external circumstances to disturb our inner peace. We can acknowledge that something is unpleasant or challenging without letting it overwhelm us or derail our commitment to living according to our values. The practice of memento mori, remembering death, serves as a powerful tool for maintaining perspective. This isn't morbid obsession, but a healthy recognition of life's temporary nature. When we remember that our time is limited, we naturally prioritize what truly matters. We're less likely to waste energy on petty conflicts or meaningless pursuits. We're more inclined to express gratitude, forgive others, and focus on creating meaning and connection. This awareness of mortality also helps us appreciate the present moment. When we truly understand that this day, this conversation, this experience might be our last, we naturally become more attentive and grateful. We stop taking ordinary moments for granted and start recognizing the extraordinary nature of simply being alive and conscious. The Stoic emphasis on virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance provides a framework for decision-making that doesn't depend on external circumstances. These virtues can be practiced regardless of our wealth, health, or social status. A person in prison can still act with courage and justice. Someone facing illness can still pursue wisdom and practice temperance. This focus on character rather than circumstances gives us a stable foundation for self-worth and meaning building. What Marcus Aurelius called the inner citadel, fortress of the mind, where we can find refuge and strength, requires daily practice. Like physical fitness, mental strength must be developed through consistent exercise. This might involve morning reflection, evening review of the day's events, or regular meditation on Stoic principles. The specific practices matter less than the consistency and intentionality with which we approach them. The goal isn't to become perfect or to eliminate all emotional responses. Instead, it's to develop the mental flexibility and strength that allows us to navigate life's challenges with greater wisdom and less suffering. We learn to dance with uncertainty rather than being paralyzed by it. We develop the confidence that comes from knowing we can handle whatever life brings our way. In our modern world, these ancient principles are more relevant than ever. We face unprecedented levels of information overload, social comparison through social media, and uncertainty about the future. The Stoic practices of focusing on what we can control, maintaining emotional equilibrium, and finding meaning in difficulty provide practical tools for thriving in this complex environment. The journey of mastering your mind through Stoic philosophy isn't about reaching a destination where you never feel challenged or upset. Instead, it's about developing the skills and perspective that allow you to remain centered and effective regardless of external circumstances. It's about becoming the kind of person who can stand firm in their values while remaining flexible in their methods, who can care deeply while maintaining perspective, and who can face uncertainty with courage rather than fear. As you begin to integrate these principles into your daily life, remember that transformation takes time and patience. Start small, perhaps by pausing before reacting to minor frustrations, or by ending each day with brief reflection on what went well and what you learned. The goal isn't perfection, but progress. Each time you choose a thoughtful response over an automatic reaction, each time you focus on what you can control rather than what you cannot, you're building the mental strength that will serve you for the rest of your life. The ancient Stoics discovered that true freedom comes not from controlling our circumstances, but from mastering our responses to them. In a world of constant change and uncertainty, this internal freedom is the most valuable skill we can develop.